Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to episode 26 of Wings, Beers, and Tears, your DMV podcast. We are coming to you live from Montgomery County, Maryland. It is early November, and we have a packed podcast tonight. I, for one, am fired up, so let's do the intros here. We've got Jeremy to my left. How are you?
I'm doing very well, gents. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Jerry?
City of fucking champions, man.
Yeah,
You're
brother.
goddamn right. And I am Todd, and we are here to celebrate your Washington Nationals, the 2019 World Series champions. God, it feels so good to have some winning teams in this city. So here's our rundown tonight. We are just going to get right into it. We are going to preview your number 7 ranked Maryland Terrapins basketball team. We are going to gloss over the shit stain that is the Redskins.
Fuck them.
Good Lord. They just give us nothing to talk about each week, yet here we are. We are going to give a big shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for one of probably the biggest regular season NFL game of the season so far. Fantastic win for them. We're going to talk about our Caps, who continue to just churn out the wins and play some good hockey. But right off the top, let's get into it. And congratulations to your Washington Nationals. Man, it feels good to be a championship city.
I would like an apology from Jeremy. I said exactly what was happening last podcast. I said something's weird. Max Scherzer out of nowhere has muscle spasms, can't put his shirt on.
It's called drugs, Jerry.
And
they
said
fucking doped his ass up,
the
dude.
next game. Oh, he's available. He's available to pitch if we need him. Like, oh, okay. And then it goes to game 7. I mean, I'll let you break it down, but Jeremy, are you willing to apologize?
I'm not going to break down shit. Here's the deal.
No.
Before we get into the conspiracy theory between Jerry and Jeremy, which is going to be fucking great, I'm just going to sit back and eat my popcorn. But before we get into that, so here's the summary. So last week at this time, the Nats were down 3-2, heading back to Houston with Strauss on the mound. And we did say if they've got a chance, they have a chance because Strasburg was arguably the best pitcher in the entire series. Cole probably had the accolades coming in. By the time it was all said and done, Strasburg is your World Series MVP, the fucking man. And they win Game 6 on the back of an amazing Strasburg performance. And then in Game 7, as Jerry just alluded to, Max Scherzer somehow rises from the dead, and his pinched nerve was pinched no more. And he had a very gritty and gutty 5 innings worth of work and kept him in the game. And boy, did the Nats not come through yet again with late inning heroics. And the long ball was their friend in that gimmicky ballpark. And man, the rest is fucking history. Champs. You know what an absolute run they went on.
Yep. I mean, I genuinely believe, I know Jeremy disagrees with me.
Vehemently, he disagrees with you.
I genuinely believe they looked at the stats and they said, we can pitch Max in Game 5 and he's going to lose to Cole. And we can throw anybody out there and he's going to lose to Cole. But wouldn't it be nice if we have to win 2 out of 3 to have Strasburg and Scherzer going up against, not as dominant pitching? And it worked out for them. I mean, that's what I believe. I believe they made the calculated risk to go down 3-2.
So you honestly believe this? This isn't bullshit.
This
you
is not
believe
bullshit.
that they sat Scherzer on purpose in Game 5,
right,
and used the pinched nerve as a red herring and said, "Hey, he can't go tonight. He's our horse."
I'm not saying he wasn't in pain.
Right.
I'm saying he could have pitched through if he had to. I'm saying he did. They did.
Okay.
They didn't scratch him. He would have been as injured in Game 7 as he was in Game 5.
So
right? I think they could have pitched him in Game 5 if he wanted to.
All right. So that is your honest to God theory.
That's my honest to God theory. And Tony Kornheiser backed me up, and Tony Kornheiser's right. The only person I'm waiting for is Alan May. If Alan May backs me up, I know it's gold.
Alan May didn't back you up.
No, I said if he backs me up.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you want to know what Alan May would think of your theory.
All right, so Jeremy, after hearing his half-cocked theory there about sitting Scherzer on purpose in Game 5, you did not agree via text.
Well,
He called me a bowl of shit.
obviously, there is some credence to this theory because Hinch was clearly sitting Cole in Game 7, saving him for Game 8. So obviously there is credence to the theory. And for those of you who don't know, there is no Game 8, and I'm being full of shit now. Now, here's the thing. I think there's maybe one organization in the entire world that would do something that stupid, and that's the Washington Redskins. So maybe something got in there, in Rizzo's mind that he needed to do something funky. There's no way Rizzo would ever do that. There is no way Scherzer would ever do that. Now, what I will say is maybe they knew he couldn't go more than an inning or two that day because he was in pain. And therefore, they ended up doing this. That I can see. But Scherzer wasn't himself in Game 7.
He wasn't.
I think that just shows me that he was actually coming off of something.
I'm not saying he wasn't coming off on something, but if Joe Ross was pitching Game 7, that game would have been 8-0 after 5 innings. I mean, Scherzer did not pitch well, and he got batted around a little bit, but he kept them fighting in the game. And by the time they were able to chase Greinke, which we can all talk about why the manager for the Astros took Greinke out after 80 pitches, but that allowed them to stay in the game and then make the comeback. But I do believe that was a factor in their decision. Is it as clear cut as what I'm saying? Probably not, but I believe that they did some sort of analytical, decision to say, let's rest him. Maybe he can get a little bit healthier, and we'll have a better matchup at Game 7 if Strasburg can win.
Well, I will.
I don't know. All right. Jeremy made the point that if there's no way you would have sat him on purpose for a game that may not have even occurred. Because if they lose Game 5 and they lose Game 6, there's no Game 7.
They're betting on Strasburg. I said it's a calculated risk. I'm not saying it's, I'm not saying it was a guarantee. I'm just saying it was a calculated risk, and it was one that was worth taking, probably because they thought he would be healthier by that time. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't injured and that wasn't a factor.
Right.
But I'm saying also, in addition to the injury, it was maybe he can be healthier and we'll have a better matchup if we can use him in Game 7.
So, all right. Whether or not it was a calculated risk,
it doesn't matter. It worked.
Fucking worked, right?
Yeah. So I'm just asking for a little fucking respect here.
You're in the wrong room.
Well, yeah, you definitely have the wrong audience with Jeremy over there because he's looking at you like he's just boring a hole right through you right now.
And Howie Kendrick, once again,
fuck that guy. He was the man, wasn't he?
Did he have the best postseason ever?
Dude, you know what he had? He had a DSP postseason.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yes, he did.
Now Kendrick had some clout. He's a good major league hitter. But dude, I mean, the clutch hits, him coming through left and right, it was just unreal. It was unreal. I was really, really happy for that guy because he's at the stage in his career where he should just ship himself out to the American League and be a DH. But
I heard today he's getting looked at by the Rays. The Rays really want him.
I'm sure there's a number of teams. I mean, he's still probably got 2 to 3 legit years in terms of a bat left where the American League just suits him perfectly.
Yeah, and he came off that Achilles. He probably never knew if he was going to play again. So it's just super cool to see him do what he did.
But and I know we're going to talk about this in a couple minutes. But goddamn, if you're going to keep, I assume they're going to bring Zimmerman back on a much reduced deal. Obviously, they let him go now because they're not paying him $18 million next year. But I assume they will try to bring him back. If you're going to bring him back and play first base, why not have Kendrick there too? And the two of them can platoon first base all year.
I mean, Rizzo will figure something out because he's really smart.
Oh, he's McClellan.
I'm telling you, man.
He'll make something happen.
Correct. I trust both of those guys. By the way, I would never end up at a poker table with either one of those guys. First of all, their pockets are deeper. Second of all, their balls are bigger. Third of all, they know what they're doing.
Rizzo looks like he just fight you too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's a bulldog, dude. I love that guy.
I want you to tell him your theory and see what he thinks.
Well, they're never going to admit it, but I know I'm right.
Dave, have you heard his theory?
You're right. You know what, Jerry? You're right. It's okay.
Yeah, your mic's not on. We'll get you hooked up in a second, but we will have a special guest here shortly, ladies and gentlemen. But so Jerry's theory is that they sat Scherzer on purpose in Game 5, that it wasn't actually an injury.
No, that's not what I said. He was injured, but they could have pitched him if they had to.
And if there's no Game 7, you might as well burn down.
But they had Strasburg in Game 6. What am I missing? What are you missing that I'm not? I mean,
You're missing logic.
Okay, you might in fact be right.
I know I am.
However, if that was the calculated risk, then they should have done it in Game 1 as well. If you weren't going to
He
go,
wasn't as injured then.
it doesn't fucking matter, Jerry. The injury was a red herring. He wasn't actually
If he can't beat Cole, why you pitch him Game 1?
correct. If your theory's right,
And he did beat Cole. By
if
the
your
way.
theory's right that they were sitting him out, he actually wasn't that injured. I think he was actually fucked up. I think the pinched nerve just got him.
And he just got better in a day or two.
No, I think they shot him up.
Drugs,
That's what I
drugs,
said.
drugs.
It's called drugs.
Why couldn't they shoot him up in Game 5?
Because it takes time.
No, you guys are full of shit. You're not even fucking doctors. What the fuck are you talking about?
I think
Not
I
a
do-
doctor, but we have a lawyer amongst us, so he must be right.
And I'm right, and I'm getting yelled at. This is a time for celebration, and we're gonna have a fucking all-out
Getting
brawl.
yelled
Jerry,
at. You brought this on yourself.
I did. I started it. I started
about
it.
something. It's just
Son of a
not
bitch.
This, so.
Nah, so
I'm the Marchand of this discussion right here. I start the fight, and I'm the what? What's everybody mad at me for?
no, so we, seriously, what a run by the Nats. What a the similarities, and we've gone on and on here. The national media has done it. The local media has done it. I mean, the love affair between the Caps and Nats is awesome to see. And before we popped on here, Jerry and I were talking, and we are so envious of other cities that have multiple championship teams so often. Boston comes to mind first, firsthand between the Red Sox and Patriots. But it's so cool to have a city now where the teams are fairly united. We have 2 championship teams in 18 months and legit fucking sports.
And the Mystics.
And the Mystics sandwiched in there. Our college basketball team looks like they're legit. They're pretty good. I mean, it's a good time to be a DMV
Maryland
sports
football's
fan.
going to beat Penn State.
Yeah, that was our.
Remember that podcast?
Yeah, that was interesting. Thank God we don't make our money off of sports bets because we would be just
No
completely
shit.
dead broke.
I was convinced they were going to beat Penn State.
I had no idea Penn State was going to be that good, but I digress.
Yeah.
No, so let's take a quick break. Let's refresh beverages. Let's get the technical equipment up, and then let's do our bridge between the Nats and the Caps and what that really means. And let's get a pulse on the Caps and where they're going forward, and let's talk a little bit about free agency for both teams because it's looming right now for the Nats because their off season starts right away, and they've got some tough decisions ahead of
Pitchers
them.
and catches in like 90 days.
Yep, and the Caps aren't far behind them as this season winds down. So let's take a quick break, and we
Caps
will
pitching
join you
sucks.
for some more DMV Sports Talk. And welcome back to Wings, Beers, and
still wrong.
Tears. And Jeremy is still seething over there. He's very mad at Jerry's conspiracy theory on Game 5. We'll call this Hyatt Gate here for Nationals Game 5.
It's not a conspiracy. It's the smartest thing in the world, and it worked. And we're champs.
Yeah. Dave wants to talk and use to talk. But
That's right. So we will bring on our guest yet again.
Hold
we
on,
have
I gotta say one last thing. It's
okay.
like it's
Jesus
like a parent.
Christ.
I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad. I'm very disappointed.
That's the worst.
That doesn't even work anymore.
Nah, it
What am I,
doesn't work.
7?
So we are joined yet again
Yes,
by
kind
Coach
of.
Evans, and we have an actual, honest to God, authority in our midst. Thank goodness to keep us all on the straight and
I
narrow.
thought Jerry was the
You
authority.
must be talking about law. It's not me.
I coach JV football, D-line.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good
Interior.
point.
There you go.
Yeah, of course, interior.
Some clout.
Actually, we are very proud of you for that. Absolutely.
Punt coach specialist.
I don't even know what cover 2 is. Like, should we cut cover 2? I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Say yes.
Sounds sexy. Go for it.
You're like, I don't know. My linemen are just supposed to rush, aren't they?
Does that mean we still have defensive linemen?
This is just smear the queer with a line, right?
That's perfect. So we were talking about the Nats and how their run to the championship was so similar to the Caps, and underdog. They'd been there before as the favorite and failed miserably a number of times. The thought in the city was, oh, here we go again. And then here the Nats were in August and September in the midst of just a brutal, fucking find a way to make the playoffs. They did. And we said it on here. Many other people said it. If they get in, they are a nightmare for the opponent. And there they were, the big bad Dodgers. Dodgers look great. They're up 2-1, but they're thinking, shit, those guys have the bats and they've got the pitching staff, and sure enough, we pulled it out.
We deserve a little credit for this. Not like, Josh Howard, Wake Forest credit, but we
yeah.
deserve a little bit of credit.
No, that story for another time, and that's a doozy right there.
What a dumbass.
Who, Josh Howard or us?
Josh Howard.
Well,
Yeah,
us
he is a
too, but
dumbass. No, but it was not only was it great to see the championship, to feel the groundswell of excitement from the city, but then here they were in their championship celebrations partying with the Caps, who just a year and a half ago had done the same thing, and it was so awesome to see the other night at the game.
Incredible.
It's just so cool. Seeing the guys with their shirts off in the Zamboni, they're pouring beer from the suite down to people below. I mean, just a fucking
Oshie's,
party.
beer through the jersey.
Yes, yes.
Replicated
Adam
by
Eaton is the TJ Oshie of the
I
Nats.
fucking love it. So the love fest is definitely there. The bro love, all that shit. But again, two legitimate, major sports trophies in our hands in 18 months. The Mystics sandwiched in between, and there's Danny Boy in a fetal position, out in Ashburn.
God, he must be
F
hating
you,
this.
Danny.
Not even worth talking about.
So we will, we'll touch on the Skins in a little bit, but does he even really know what's going on? Does he care? Does
Yeah, he's
he
in a
realize
bubble.
that he's so down on the totem pole right now?
If he doesn't, he's crazy. But I think they're in such a bubble over there that
They must be.
He's surrounded by sycophants who just tell him how great he is and how
Yeah.
rich he is and how much he's never made more money than he makes now. So
Right.
he views it as a success.
God, he's just a despicable person.
1-8 is that's success, baby. Hell yes.
yeah.
If
Yeah,
they
no
don't-
shit.
I mean, if they don't beat the Jets, that might be it.
Yeah,
They shouldn't beat the Jets, but let's talk about
yeah. We'll table that. We'll table that. So, what were your favorite moments from the Nats run? It can be getting there. It can be first round game. Final series. Like where are you at with your favorite moments?
I like-
other than your theory on the Game 5 Scherzer injury thing.
I assume someone's going to be calling me, thanking me for that. But I liked
Sometime
Howie
in 100
Kendricks. I liked Howie Kendrick's moments. He always had big hits. Soto, they're the oldest team in the league, but they had young guys who I think their charisma helped them. I mean, with the dugout dances and all that stuff, and even
Right.
Strasburg was getting. I mean, they just played kind of loose. My favorite moment was Game 7 in Houston when Kendrick hit the 2-run home run, and you could just feel the energy from that stadium ballpark just died.
Yep.
Yeah.
They knew it was over.
Yep.
Because they had their gun out and he was pitching great and they couldn't put the Nats away. Scherzer would have bases loaded almost, or at least 2 men on every inning, and would somehow get out of it. And Rendon hit the home run, and then they took him out, and then Kendrick hit it, and you could just see the confidence drain away.
So great, right?
And that was the best part because they took their soul, and that was the best part for me. I love when teams take another person in their fan base's soul, and you could
you
just,
love a good crushing victory.
just a soul crushing. I love when kids start crying and shit, like the Duke kid.
Like the Duke kid from
that
back
was
in
the
the
greatest
day.
moment of the yeah.
Kids
So
crying,
that,
injuries being faked, all that.
that was my favorite.
This had everything for Jerry. God, this was like his
Yeah.
dream
It
series.
was. It was.
And I saw Max go, Jerry's for you, dude. You had it figured out, man.
No, that was F you, Jerry. But we won't talk about that.
So, Jeremy, what was your favorite moment or moments or
Aside the chicks with the boobs behind home plate that one game,
that was impressive.
that was impressive.
Yeah.
No, but just the excitement. I don't think I've ever been so closely following a team that I'm not necessarily a fan of, and got to enjoy all the spoils without having any of the downs. Being an O's fan, you got enough downs, but it was just fun to watch the run, fun to watch the guys. And I think this is kind of backwards, but it probably goes along with Jerry's theories. Rendon yawns in the batter's box in Game 7. That's how chill the guy is. He just yawns.
Yeah.
And then goes, hits a home run. And I will say, the last thing I will say about this is, there is another slight disappointment here, and that's you really can't drink out of the championship trophy.
It is not a cool looking trophy at all.
And that's kind of too bad.
Looks like a Game of Thrones type thing.
It's like a torture device, but it's
I was going to say it looks like a hazard.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody's going to get hurt or impaled.
it probably did.
Yeah.
probably,
It looks
probably
like some
did.
kitchen utensil thing that we don't understand how to use.
Yeah, like a grater.
Is that a
And you're
bottle
like, what the hell
warmer?
do I
What
do
is
with
that?
this thing? Yeah, right.
Hat rack, I don't know.
All right, Todd. So what do you do with Rendon? What do you do with Strasburg?
All right. So,
We're not going to get Dave's moments?
yes,
Oh, Dave's. Yeah, what's your moments? I thought he was talking. I thought that was his moment to talk about the utensils.
Yeah, Dave.
No.
Dave loved the trophy celebration.
I think the thing that just was remarkable was how many individual things there were and how many different guys and how often it was seventh inning, 2 outs. I mean, when you look at the from the wild card game all the way through all the comebacks, 5 elimination games, they trailed in all 5. I don't know that there's been another series in sports or a playoff run by any team in any sport where they've had so many different things that, whether it was Rendon, whether it was Soto, whether it was Kendrick, whether it was the pitching, I mean, what was it, game 7 or game 6 where they loaded the bases a couple times, worked their way out of it?
Yep.
I mean, you just
Probably both.
it really did remind me of the Caps, and they were just not going to be denied.
Yep.
Whatever it was going to take, something was going to work.
Well, I mean, I sort of, at least for the Caps, when they beat the Lightning, I thought it was theirs.
Yeah.
I didn't think Vegas was going to hang with them. Maybe I was naive, but when
No, you're right in that case.
but when Houston won, they were the heaviest favorite. So but to have a whole World Series where the home team never wins, that's crazy.
Well, and see, that was the takeaway I had, and Jeremy alluded to it. I'm not a hardcore Nats fan. I root for them. I cheer them on. I actually go to quite a few Nats games during the year because it's fairly convenient. But baseball is the ultimate stat sport. They've got stats for everything. This guy hits 330 against lefties on Saturdays with his thumb up his ass. I mean, it's the craziest shit, right? And what you had in this series was
Which thumb? Sorry.
you had the road team winning every game, which was completely bizarre. You had the team that had the fewest hits won 6 out of the 7 games. I mean, you just had these like random, bizarre, crazy shit that throughout the course of 162 games, you have this giant sample size and you have a formula for winning. All that shit goes out the window when it's a best of 7.
Right.
And I love that about sports because it is so humbling. You can have all the right formulas. You can have the pitching staff. You can have, your top 2 lines in hockey. You can have the best quarterback in football. You can have all these things. But at the end of the day, who goes mano a mano and who finds a way to get it done. And, the Nats found a way to get it done. So that was my favorite part, was all the anomalies with the stats that kind of went against the grain of the traditional baseball people,
So what do you do with Rendon, or now that it's over, what do you do with Strasburg?
So,
and there are other free agents.
See, there again is the humbling part of sports, right? Here we are enjoying, in the honeymoon of victory, and we're already thinking you've got the World Series MVP who can opt out, and apparently San Diego is going to throw everything they can at Strasburg because that's his hometown. You've got Rendon, who could honestly command on the open market more than Harper got last year. So what do you do?
Well, from what I hear, the chances, from what I hear, I don't have any inside sources.
Oh, yes, you do. You save inside sources from Game 5, asshole.
That was just
well said.
yeah. That was, you guys are so bitter. It's a blessing and a curse to be this smart. Strasburg, this is his home now. I mean, he's from San Diego, but he's here now, and his family's here, and his kids like it here, and his wife likes it here. He's going to command 6 years, $180 million, which is probably a little bit less than Cole. He's 31 years old.
Is he 31?
He's 31.
No shit.
Yeah,
Seems like just yesterday.
The backup guys that I wrote these names down, the backup guys that, let's say he goes somewhere else, let's say he goes out west, which is possible. Blake Wheeler's 29. Madison Bumgarner's 30. I thought that guy was like 40.
Wait, how old is Bumgarner?
30. He's younger than Strasburg.
He's younger than Strauss?
I thought Blake Wheeler played for the Winnipeg Jets. But anyway.
Or maybe it's not Russ Wheeler. He's the driver in
In Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
I
know Cole. He always
Jerry's
goes to the
stats
outside.
are handwritten, and I'm a bit skeptical, but that's okay.
Dallas
That's a good
Keuchel.
penmanship,
Dallas
though.
Keuchel's 32.
He's got Gaylord Perry at the bottom of the list. 63 years old.
Still
Nats
playing
new
knucklehead.
college starter.
Walter Johnson with the old W on.
Whoever Wheeler is, that plays for the Mets. He's 29. But Strasburg's projected to be at $30 million. Those guys are $20 million and less.
Got it.
So significantly cheaper. Rendon, according to Neil Greenberg and other people, think he's going to get a 7-year, $235 million deal, which
Okay.
is about $33 to $34 million.
Right.
The other third baseman behind him that most people have available,
Is it Donaldson?
Donaldson and Moustakas.
Okay.
Rendon's 30, Moustakas is 31, Donaldson's 34. Rendon hit 319. Those guys hit in the 250s. They
Got
all
it.
had comparable homers, so it's definitely a step back. Donaldson plays for the Braves. He's projected at 3 years, $75 million, but maybe more.
and wasn't Donaldson? He's the old Blue Jays guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
He was in Oakland for a while too.
yeah.
But,
Good-
so-
solid ball player.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion, I think they are going to sign Strasburg. They're already working on signing Strasburg.
Okay.
I think Rendon's gone, and I think they know he's gone. And I get that feeling like last year when they made that offer at the end of the season for Harper, knowing he wasn't going to take it,
Right.
but they wanted to show the fans that they tried.
Correct.
They did the same thing with Rendon. They didn't do it with Strasburg. Well, they didn't know he was going to opt out, but they.
Doesn't almost every player opt out? Just to
He's-
see,
yeah.
especially when you're at the peak of performance like he is.
But-
you know?
And he
You
did
got
that.
leverage. I mean,
And I don't
yes, right.
get the sense that Rendon is really gives a shit where he plays. I mean, he'll want to go home. He'll he just I don't think he's tied to Washington like Strasburg is. So I expect them to bring Strasburg back. And then if you don't sign Rendon, that's a bad sign though that you let your two guys go and you're a big market team.
Right.
But I think you have to trust Rizzo that he's going to. Obviously, it's a step back, but he's going to bring in players that sort of compensate. Maybe not one player, but maybe you can get 3 players that can do what Anthony Rendon did.
who matters more in the locker room? I mean, baseball is always tough like that when you're comparing a pitcher who goes every 5 games.
I would
an
just
everyday guy.
I would just assume Rendon's a better locker room presence just because Strasburg seems kind of introverted, but I don't know him at all.
I would say they're the same in that way almost.
Yeah.
But
But
Yeah.
Rendon seems kind of cool.
Yeah, no, he
Strasburg
does.
seems kind of like a dud.
So it's funny you say
More
that.
of a
more of a
Chandler
dork.
Stevenson.
Yes, he's a Stevenson. He's
Dude, Stevenson's a lady killer, dude. Strasburg's just like, the guy who's kind of like never happy. It's kind of like hanging with Jeremy. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, that does happen.
So we know that the Nats are they're very frugal, right? They have been for a long time, which is ironic considering they've got the likes of Scherzer and Rendon and Harper and Strauss that have played for them. But they are very tight to the vest when it comes to money.
Which is the rumor has it that Rizzo has been, with the learners has been a little frustrated because what he does apparently is he brings these plans into the learners and says, okay, this is what we need to sign so-and-so, and these are our options if that doesn't happen.
Right.
And this is what I recommend, and a lot of times they don't do what he recommends.
Sure. So to your point, I could see them giving Rendon a second offer with a little bit more, knowing he's probably going to walk and he's going to test the free agent market. And isn't Boris his agent as well?
Yes.
That son of a bitch.
I just don't know if any one player is worth all the money
Well, and
to cripple a franchise.
correct. And Exhibit A is
Bryce Harper did bring a title to DC.
But they
Exactly
had,
right.
But they had Sosa in the wings. They don't have a Sosa in the wings for Rendon.
Sammy
I
Sosa?
mean, no, it was Soto.
Soto.
Shit, sorry. They had Soto, so they knew their outfield was going to be Eaton, Robles,
Right.
Soto, and that's a pretty good outfield.
It is.
And Soto proved to be a really good player. I don't think they have that backup plan for losing Rendon.
Well, and Rendon plays a much more important defensive position. I mean, playing third is a hell of a lot different than playing any one of the outfield
I agree.
positions.
Yeah.
And playing third and hitting like that.
Yeah,
There's
correct.
more of a risk not bringing him back. Nonetheless, is he worth $34 million a year when you have other free agents you need to sign?
Well, so here's the question. Without a salary cap, it really is up to the ownership in terms of how much absolute value they want to spend.
But there's a luxury tax.
There is, but come on, man. If you're spending that much fucking money,
It's pretty punitive, though. Isn't it like 50% or some shit like that?
Yankees don't seem to give a shit.
Well, they're the Yankees.
Exactly my
And
point.
the Dodgers.
Money.
So that's kind of my point. The way the league is structured, you're not limited by league restrictions. You are limited by your own purse strings.
Absolutely.
You know, and the Nats have shown that they are a bit cheap. Well, you know what? They won a fucking title. So now they got house money. So
Well, yeah, so now you could say, now if you're the Lerners, you could say, hey, thanks. All right, now
Yep.
we're cutting. Now we're not signing that guy. We already got our title.
that's right.
Build us another one in the next 10 years.
Well, and not lost in all of this discussion because I don't know the ins and outs of everything, but their farm system is still pretty damn good. You know, so they've potentially got quite a few guys in the wings. I don't know how good they are. Rendon is a known quantity. He's an absolute stud. He's an MVP candidate. You don't just replace that. But to your point, is he worth 30 to 35 mil a year? For me,
I don't know if anybody is.
exactly.
I don't think he's
Because
worth
it
it.
kills you if you commit to something like that and that guy, throws his shoulder out or just isn't the same. And
Or look up I-95 and
A
look
la
what-
Alex Smith.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, I
any
just,
free agent signing the Redskins the last.
I just don't
20
think.
years.
I just don't think. I don't think one player. I mean, yeah, he's great. I get it, man, and he's awesome, and I want him back. But at $34 million, when you can sign 3 starters for that amount, and you can bring back Strasburg. Now, a lot of people say they can afford to bring back both, but that doesn't seem to be the Lerners' MO.
Here's the thing that I've been sort of wondering about is, first of all, back to Rendon and him just not caring. Apparently, he didn't really want to play that much longer. So I don't know about that 7-year deal. I mean, because if that's the deal, he's going 100% in my opinion.
Well, this is his last contract.
Right. But I could almost see him going for, you know what? Give me a little more per. Just give me 4 years. 4 years at 38 or 4 years at 40, and then I'll ride off into the sunset. Now, I'm not saying that makes him any more affordable here, but I can see that happening. Strauss, I actually think 30 is too low for him because Max is getting, like 35, 36. I think he's going to be right there. But I do think Strauss is back. Rendon, I'd say Strauss 75%, Rendon about 10% that he's back.
I would
That's
agree.
where I am.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe even higher on Strauss.
Nah, it might be right. But you know what? These are awesome conversations to have right now with a title in hand.
Yes, the
with a
title
team
in
that
hand.
has been relevant prior to the title. It's not like they
You are going to
ascended.
have these conversations, win or lose.
Correct.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
So you
The
might
end
as
of the
well win it.
season, right? The end of the season free agent frenzy is there for everybody. You may as well have the fucking
See,
trophy in
Jerry,
your hand.
There you are. That's
We
a
might as
brilliant,
well win the whole
logical
fucking
argument. Yeah, and that's actually, God, I can't believe we didn't say that more, or somebody else didn't. We
gotta win the whole
We've
fucking
been saying that all season.
I have an idea. Win the whole fucking
One
thing.
thing to do, boys. The whole fucking thing.
So as we're talking about free agency and we're talking about championships and everything else, let's transition a little bit into the bro fest that was this past weekend and talk about the Caps a little bit.
Another topic which I was 100% right on.
So our Caps are currently sitting at 11,
You were good on that one. I'll give you credit. That one I'll give you credit for.
11, 3, and 2, if I'm not mistaken, correct? I think they're at 24 points.
11, 2, and 3.
11, 2, and 3. So
Oh, really?
Just
Wow.
no.
No, I think it's
They were
11-3.
regularly-
I thought they were 9, 2, and 3. Or
no,
whatever.
I'm pretty sure it's 11.
I thought they were 25, 2, and 3. No.
Jesus Christ, we suck.
They had the game that
we definitely suck.
Well, I'm fairly certain it's 11, 3, and 2 because I'm pretty sure they have 24 points through 16 games.
Yeah.
It's probably not 3 and 2 after the trip.
Either way, we're talking about a point on either side of that. That is well over a 100-point pace. It's not where I thought they'd be right now, and I am pleasantly surprised.
11, 2, and 3.
11, 2,
you
and
go.
3, so they're 25 points. So they're well above
It's like
that
I'm
shit.
fucking rolling.
I mean, I think when we talked before the season, we talked about that month being such a killer.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we would have been happy with around 500.
That's what
I mean,
Todd-
11, 2,
that's what
3
Todd
is
was
Todd and I,
absurd.
but Jerry and his crackpot theories.
He wanted 15
he
and
wanted, he wanted like 8, 4 and 2, and they did better than that.
So
and,
the
I'm
question,
and I'm still upset they lost to Edmonton.
I was going to say, so through 16 games, they've got 25 points. They've done it in a myriad of ways. How many games have you watched and turned off the second they went down?
Every one of them. Every game I watch, if they go down 1-0, I turn it. And it
Well said, Dave.
And it works. They go down 1-0. I turn it off. I turn my phone on. I watch the score on the phone, and inevitably comes 1-1, then 2-1, then 2-2, and then the Caps win in the third. I'm telling you, it's a freaking genius. They won this whole Stanley Cup. And I didn't watch a fucking thing in the finals because I was on a roll of checking every 30 minutes and watching on my phone.
So
Thank you.
I did the same thing with the World Series. I couldn't handle watching the whole game. I kept checking, about the fifth, sixth inning. I'm like, okay, well, like it's close, so they're coming back. And I get it, and it was torture. Baseball takes too long.
No, it does. It does.
Yeah, I was going to sleep at like 9:30, then getting up and watching before I went to work. So
I mean, the Caps.
Jeremy was doing shots in the morning.
Well,
He was like retroactively
I was doing
celebrating.
shots.
He's got his jersey drinking through it.
Exactly.
Trying to be a little realistic, though, the Caps are on a heater in large part because John Carlson had a historic month, which probably won't be duplicated again. So, that's a large part of their win streak. The other guys have to step up. I'm still looking for a little bit more from Tom Wilson, but maybe I'm just, I'm high on Tom Wilson, so I expect him to be like, scoring 40 goals a game, and he's probably not that player. But, if Carlson cools down, which he will, then where does the offense pick up from?
All right,
but I mean,
so-
they do score a ton of goals.
All right, so I'm going to defer to Dave and Jeremy on this because they're well schooled, in hockey compared to you and me, Jerry. But
I think I'm at the bottom of the totem pole with hockey knowledge.
But I will say this: part of me is very optimistic because they are doing it by committee right now. I was not big on Vrana or Wilson a couple weeks ago, and they have picked up their game immensely.
You're right.
I mean, look how many guys are on pace for plus 20.
Correct.
That's
Exactly
what you really
right.
It's like Chandler Stevenson's one of them.
You look at really good teams, and you look at how many guys are we going to have 40 or more points or 20 or more goals. We've got a shit ton.
Yeah.
You look at the defense, and we got guys like Fairbury and Lewington that started the season on the roster due to injuries and salary cap restraints. Well, they don't even have to play every day. They are more than serviceable guys that can fill in.
I actually think that some of those guys might be an improvement.
No, I agree. No, you're exactly right. The point being, we're sitting here with 8 or 9 legit NHL defensemen on the roster, and we're sitting here with multiple guys that are hopefully going to hit 20 or more goals and 40 or more points. If somebody gets hurt or if somebody dries up a little bit, it appears to me that there are plenty of opportunities for other guys to step up. Now, the other side of the coin is I'm going to belabor this point all season, I don't think we play with enough urgency or pace early in games, and it tends to cost us. We can turn on the switch with the best of them, but we get behind the 8 ball just as much as any other team. Now, it seems to be a league-wide phenomenon, so I'm not like freaking out about it, but there are plenty of games where I'm going, what the fuck are we doing? And we're just letting teams take it to us.
They just look disinterested.
Correct. So I don't know whether that's a byproduct of being a good veteran-laden team early in the year or whether that's a systematic thing. But, so I can play, both sides of the coin. I am optimistic because I think this team is deep and talented and really fucking good, but they have to play fast. They have to play with urgency if they're going to get it done later in the year. So,
Dave, what do you think?
Gentlemen, I will defer to the experts.
you guys-
To the
Dave
point
as a
about the
gentleman.
starts, I think some of it is, the Caps are still coming in. They have the best record in the NHL right now. They're still fresh from a cup win 2 seasons ago. So they're still, they're a game that gets marked on the calendar, mentally, and maybe literally in a calendar locker room, like, hey, we got to be up for this.
That's a good point.
So I think the Caps are kind of playing the same game they do all game and are just kind of playing with some composure. They're not worried if they go down one. They're going to play their game. They're going to play it for 60. The things that worry me, I still worry about their defense. I think Jensen's like a -6 or 7 right now.
That's a lot better than Orlov.
Yeah.
Yeah, or every time Orlov gets the puck, I get nervous.
I
You turn your TV off.
yeah, grabbing the remote. I just don't see their D-core being Stanley Cup caliber.
Okay.
And whether it's, whether it comes around, I mean, like, I don't think Gudas has been the nasty effect that, that they need out of him. I don't think he's playing nasty or dirty enough or mean enough. I'd like to see more of that. I mean, obviously the month you get out of Carlson, I mean, that's absurd.
He's like otherworldly right now. I mean,
And he's so calm. He makes it look so easy. I mean,
he's a monster right now.
yeah. And I mean, everything. And I think there are times, he looks and he makes a pass and it works. And he got the look on his face like, man, God, everything's going in right now. He's like, I'm just going to just keep playing. Just keep playing.
Yep.
I think Hagelin is still on 0 goals up front. There's some guys. Panic has 0 points. I think there's some guys.
He's coming back this week.
Is he? Okay.
I think that some of those other guys need to contribute some more. Verana's got 9 goals, which is awesome. I think Wilson's on, like I said, on pace for 25.
Yep.
I think Eller's around the same. Ovi's still Ovi. Never
Jesus
seemed
Christ,
to age,
Ovi.
which is,
He's God. We're so spoiled.
I laughed. I looked up on
We are spoiled.
TSN, and TSN actually now tracks missed shots and shot attempts blocked. And not shockingly, Ovi leads the NHL in both categories.
Right.
And probably would lead it every year for the last, how many years has he been in the league? 'Cause for a guy who scores so many goals, I've never seen a guy miss so many. And just
He
drills it into
loves to just shoot the puck.
Every time he
like an
goes,
8-year-old.
every time,
really
every
is.
time he goes one
God, I
on
love
2, it's like he always turns the puck over. Like I've never seen him be successful.
Well, it's because you don't watch any of the game.
It's like, remember the scene?
God, I love this. I love the rift.
You guys have seen Old School, right? With Will Ferrell.
Oh, yeah.
The scene where he debates and he's like, "Well, I don't know what happened." I feel like that's Ovi sometimes. I don't know.
That's
he takes
perfect.
a slap shot and he's like, "I don't know. Did it go in?"
They ask him after the game. They're like, "Hey, what'd you do on that shot?" He's like, "I shot that. Oh shit! No,
Yeah,
I don't know, but I'm
I
gonna
like to score. I like to score goals."
I score goals. I score goals.
Well, wasn't one of his lines, or I might be mixing this up with Bonsai, but there was a "I shoot puck at going net" line. That's
Very
Ovi.
possible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No. So.
Can we get an aw?
Hey, Holly. So, I have a feeling. The Caps are going to hit a rough patch. I don't know, late December, early January.
It'll be just because they're disinterested.
It could be that. It could be a little bit of the age of the team. It could be some injury issues, that kind of thing. I've said it before. I love Holtby.
Yeah.
But he is not your even Steven goalie. He is not your Lundqvist. He is not your Rinne. He goes up and down. He's more like a Quick, in my opinion. Quick would have those streaks where he would, there would be 10 games and his goals against was like 0.7. And then the next 5 games, it was like 4.3. You're like, what the hell is going on?
Unfortunately, when he is down like that, it doesn't seem to last long.
Exactly right.
I mean, he had one terrible game, and people on the radio were like, "Is it time to go to Samson?" And I'm like, "Holy shit! Like one game,
I
like,
know.
This guy, his season removed from a Stanley Cup, and there were plenty of games where you watch and you're like, he covers up a lot of shortcomings on the defense."
No, he absolutely does. And there have been plenty of games in this win streak that we have been outshot that I'm not liking how the ice is tilted against us. I think we're living a little bit too much off the counterattack and the power play from time to time. But that Calgary game the other night was so complete because they had nothing. And that's a good team.
They had a little extra juice with the Nats in the house. I think that definitely.
They may have. But even the last couple games of the road trip, when you looked at shots, it didn't look great. But then when you looked at scoring chances, it was almost dead even. Yeah. But then when you actually watched the game, because I watched a couple of them back, that the Edmonton game was interesting. That third period was crazy. What was the other game? It was the Vancouver game.
The comeback?
Yeah. Where I was like, holy shit. So I actually watched that game. My wife thought I was crazy because she's like, wow, 5-1, and you're going to stay up, and you're a moron. I'm like, well, that's...
Yeah, she would have said that anyway.
Yeah, probably.
I was out at like 2-1.
So you got a 1-0.
So I got myself a beverage, sat down.
Jerry saw the warm-ups and was like, I'm done.
And I told
I
her...
hit the post in warm-ups. God damn it, son of a bitch.
And it was funny because I told her, I was like, all right, I'm going to watch. I was like, you go to bed. I was like, we're going to lose this game 5-3. I have this feeling we're going to lose like 5-4. We're going to get like a late, extra man goal. We're going to push a little bit. But I was like, I kind of want to see how we respond. And when we came back and won that game, I was like, this is interesting. Because through 2 periods, they weren't 5-1 better than us.
No way.
And league-wide, we hinted at this last year, there have been more come from behind
comebacks.
wins with 3 or more goal differential than they have at any 4 or 5 week period in NHL history. So I don't know what's in the water in the NHL right now, but no game is off the table, which is great as a casual fan.
It's just the
Look
aggressiveness.
at, I mean, every team's got young, dynamic guys. Teams fly, the pace.
Yeah, they're going
I
to
love
have
it.
1 or 2 lines that are going to do damage.
Yeah.
Any team. So
Yep. I love it because no game is out of reach if you're down, and no game is a give me if you're up, and it's going to keep teams really, really honest.
All right, so the next 3 games are tomorrow night at the Panthers. The 9th, Golden Knights come in and then
Yeah, that game Saturday is going to be interesting. Golden Knights at Caps.
and
Saturday
then
night.
Monday, Phoenix or Arizona, whatever the fuck they're called. I thought they're like owned.
Kessels.
Aren't they owned by the league or something? But they always play the Caps tough.
They used to be. Well, they're
Coyotes.
actually, aren't they like 8-0-2 in their last 10 or
Yeah, they
something
definitely
stupid?
had a stretch.
No, they're playing great.
And
hockey
then
right now.
at the Flyers, at home to Montreal, and then at the Bruins.
Dude, we told you
Bruins
this.
are gonna be legit.
Dave, when Dave was on, when we did our Caps preview, we told you this. There is no easy game in the NHL. Every single team has young talent. They have legitimate goaltending, and every game is going to be a grind. And you can have a so the Pittsburgh-Boston game the other night was crazy. Boston's up 3-0 after 1 at home. I'm like, there's nothing else on. I'll watch the second period. Pittsburgh puts up a 4 spot in the
Four
second
spot.
period. Goes up 4-3.
And if
Boston proceeds to put up 3 in the third and win 6-4. I mean, that game could not have been more of a roller coaster with legit studs on the ice from both
And I
teams.
was hoping for hamstring pulls every step of the
I
way.
think of the 4 goals for Pittsburgh
You
in the
lightened
second.
up.
Was
I
that the
expect
game?
more like Achilles slashes or
Was that the
something.
game where Crosby had no points in that?
Correct.
Game? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at it. I'm like, who the
Sucks.
fuck are these guys?
Yeah, the kid Marino got his first goal coming out of the penalty box. You had, Gensel getting one. That motherfucker gets
Is-
more shit goals.
Is there a bigger
But he's a good player,
douche?
though.
Is there a bigger douche sportscaster in America than Jack Edwards
No.
from the Bruins?
Okay, he's not a douche.
No.
He's a son of a bitch. And I would punch
piece
him
of
right in the
shit.
face if he was sitting here
Douchebag,
right now.
man.
God, I hate that motherfucker.
Yeah.
His line earlier this year when he told, what's his name? Oh, that's hockey karma.
That's
Is
hard.
that
Yeah,
Pollock?
'cause-
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he gets a head injury, oh, that's hockey karma. Hey, Edwards, you know what's karma? I'm going to trip your ass down the fucking elevator.
and he didn't back off
I was
from
gonna
it.
Piece of
throw-
shit.
throw
And he
something,
didn't back away from it either.
no.
After he didn't
no,
say
he
I was
totally
yeah.
defended himself.
Totally.
Oh,
He's
What
got,
a-
he's got a little like South Boston in him.
he's
think
just
even
a piece of shit.
Bruins fans thinks he's an asshole.
Yes.
No, seriously. I think even RA from the Chicklets is like,
That's what I was
dude,
going with.
He's such
you
a
can't
fucking
even defend
homer.
that guy.
Yeah, he's such a homer.
Yeah. So's Lachlan, but he doesn't say shit like that.
Yeah, he
you know?
would. Yeah, I mean, Joe B is just Joe B's the ultimate professional.
Oh, he's
Locker's the kind of guy you only love if he's your guy.
of course,
Yeah. You know.
of course.
Well, the reason Joe B is the ultimate professional is he also can still do baby shark dances in a shark suit in Edmonton. So
He is
you know,
the most prepared
He is.
play-by-play guy I've ever seen. He can do Major League Lacrosse,
Yes.
college football,
He's
college
like the,
lacrosse.
He's like the Mike Tirico of the DMV.
Yes, he is.
Mike Tirico can do anything. Or at
You know
least
what? With
is he
that
still
being
alive?
said-
I don't know.
we need to get Joe B on here.
Oh, that's going to happen. Yeah.
You've got pull.
I've got pull. Yeah, I can get Joe B's like hairstylist on him. Maybe.
he'd actually probably do it. He's a nice enough guy.
I think the Caps go 4-2 in over the next 6.
I just, for the Caps' sake, I sincerely hope that they continue to roll out the young guys when they can, limit the minutes of the veterans.
Oshie.
Oshie, Ovi, Backstrom, even Kuzi to some degree. Let those guys play in a more natural rotation. You don't have to ride the veterans like we've done in the past because I think we have a third and fourth line that can contribute.
Dowd's coming back this week. Or
I
next
really
week.
like Dowd. I actually like Boyd.
Boyd.
I think those guys are NHLers, and I know you're going to laugh at this, Jerry. Laugh at Stevenson all you want. What does he have, 2 or 3 goals?
At least 2. One of them was actually from in front of the net too. Instead,
He's
of behind
actually been getting, when he is slotted in the lineup, he's getting quite a bit of PK time, and he's been very effective on the penalty kill.
Shut the fuck up.
That limits Oshie's time on the
30 goal
penalty
season.
kill.
it. Need to save him for Game 7.
And
Save his ass. Let's save his ass for game 8.
Leipzig scored the other night. Obviously Hagelin needs to get off the schneid. When Panic comes
He's
back,
not going to be a scorer.
no, but
He's not. He
but he's a
never was.
positive
He's got
influence when he's
value out there, though. He's
He's good
Bingo.
on the he's good on the
Bingo.
PK though.
Well, dude, he's lightning fast. He's a pain in the ass in the corners. He's the kind of guy you want on the ice. And if it doesn't result in a goal, a lot of times it's an offensive zone draw. It's, he's drawing a penalty. He's doing a lot of those little intrinsic things that I think make a big difference. I'd like to see
Dave's
a
not
little
a big fan. I can see it.
No, I just for the positions he's in, the role he plays, he's got to give something.
Who's that, Hagelin?
Hagelin. It just,
Yeah.
I mean, the PK. I just don't think it's enough. I mean, for the role he plays and
No, you might be right. You might be
for
right.
his experience and what he's capable of, it's just, who knows whether this guy's got no shoulders left or what if there's more to it. But
Sure.
I just
That's
watch
kind of
him
where
play,
I'm at with
you
Panic,
see it, you're
though.
like, he gets a 2-on-1, and it just seems to, he has a little bit of the Stevenson syndrome. It just never seems to translate.
He's like the kid from Mighty Ducks 2 who can skate like the wind, but he can't stop.
Yeah.
So he just goes flying into the boards in the net all the time.
Isn't that guy like a cowboy or something? Wasn't there one?
No, that kid had the hands.
Yeah, whatever. All right, let's talk about. You want to transition?
All right, so positive. We started with Nats, Caps doesn't get much better. Let's real quick throw a couple minutes at the Redskins
All right.
if we have to.
Here's my thought.
I
have two thoughts.
Please.
Haskins did not shit the bed. He did embarrass himself.
He did not.
He didn't throw up on himself.
He did not.
Well, he might have, but we didn't see it.
Right. They gave him 4 routes to throw and to learn, and he learned them, and he checked down all the time, and he threw for 150 yards, and no touchdowns, no picks.
No turnovers.
That's probably what you're going to get the rest of the year. But he held his own. Josh Allen, is that his name? Josh Allen in
Josh
Buffalo?
Allen.
He wasn't even that much better.
Nope.
But they just have a better team. The Callahan understands that they have no chance to score, so he's shortening the game. And the first half was like an hour long.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
It was ridiculous.
They just that's what it's going to keep on being.
Right.
You
Merciful.
play the kid, you play the kid, and you give him basic stuff to run, and maybe it's like anything else. The more you do it, the thing starts to slow down, and eventually he'll get a game where he has 2 touchdowns and 1 pick, or 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. But that's about it. I mean, that's him.
I do think he was announced as the starter for the Jets game, just like in the last couple hours.
Well, Callahan won't do it, but that's it. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, what else?
I mean, he can protect himself, and he can go out and he can make some plays. All right, so that's that. Trent Williams is a liar. He was told multiple times that to go get that thing biopsied on his head, and he chose not to, and he knows the records would reflect that. And instead of just coming out and saying, "I'm not playing," because I don't want to play for this bullshit team anymore.
Right.
I don't like the people. They're never going to win. They're in constant rebuild, and I got 4 years left, and I want to freaking win something. That's what he should say. But he can't. He came out on this PR thing about how his life was in danger, and that's why he's not playing for the Redskins. And when the Redskins called his bluff, he said, "No, you can't look at my medical records," because they're all going to say, told him to go see the specialist, told him to go see a specialist, told him to go see a specialist.
Okay.
Notwithstanding that fact, the Redskins are so rotten to a core
Yes, they
of,
are.
of an organization that even when they're right, they still get crushed. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's possible they were shitty in this whole equation also.
Well, it's possible,
It's
but
not mutually exclusive here.
but my
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
My guess is, based on the way things have transpired, and then now he won't release his records, that it was primarily his fault. He just didn't follow up on what they told him to do, and he's trying to use this as a reason to. I don't want to play for you anymore, but I don't want to say I don't want to play for you anymore because I want the fans to like me still. Because he could take a PR hit if he comes out and says, "I'm not playing for this team anymore. They're terrible, and I want to win. So trade me to somebody who's going to win." But that's really what it's about. They should have traded him if they had the equity, if they had got a first-round pick. They didn't get one. They should trade him in the offseason if they get a first-round pick, or picks that equal a first-round pick, like a second and a third, or two twos or something like that. They should trade everybody they can trade and just let it go. Announce to the world you're rebuilding because everybody knows you're doing it anyway. You get rid of
never-
Bruce Allen.
I was going to say,
don't see them
I'm with
ever
everything you
going-
just said,
Yeah.
but without a different head on the snake, it doesn't fucking
I don't
matter.
It doesn't matter if you get rid of Bruce Allen because all Dan Snyder's going to do is hire some other guy who's a yes man, and he's going to be the same thing. Right?
So what's the point of even talking about it?
There's nothing.
There isn't much.
Until Dan Snyder leaves, right? The junkie said today, would you voluntarily send the Redskins to London to be the London team if you could be guaranteed an expansion team in 5 years? And I was like, absolutely. Because that means you're getting rid of Dan Snyder. But as long as Dan Snyder's making money, he's not going anywhere. Nothing's going to change.
Isn't it crazy? Like,
It's
can you
hopeless.
imagine if someone had posed that scenario to you 25 years ago, like you would have thought they were the most insane person. But I
no
agree.
question.
I would be like, yeah, if we can get anything to get rid of Snyder, yeah, I'm
Yep.
This
Yep.
team, I mean, the foundation of this team is rotten to the core. They have veterans who are old. They need to shuffle them all out.
Culture's damn good.
They need to, yeah. it's just it is the foundation of the team is rotten to the core. It doesn't matter who the coach is. It doesn't matter if you get rid of Bruce Allen. The problem is still here.
Yep.
Because anytime Dan Snyder buddies up to one of the players, that cuts the balls of the coach off. You
Yep.
got a bad
Yep.
team. Could you imagine Bill Belichick taking this shit,
No.
or anybody with any substance?
So it leads to this, real predicament is without a significant change in the front office / ownership, nothing changes. So what's the fucking point?
What's the point?
What is the
I
point?
agree with you. That's why I'm a Ravens fan now.
So let's go into the Ravens because that's as much Skins talk as I want to do because yet again another week of just completely shit football. Just
3.5 weeks without a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
we
we're
got
not even
that has to be mentioned. I mean,
bingo.
It's impressively
Yeah.
shitty.
Thank you for bringing up that stat because it's not even like we're sitting here going, oh man, a break here or there or whatever. So coming off of our hockey talk, it's almost like, oh man, we were right there in every game. If we only scored a goal in the last 6 games, we'd be right there.
But
it's like,
one touchdown in the last 6 games, and it was a jet sweep against the Patriots.
yeah,
It's one
Right.
in 6 games.
Right.
It's fucking
I mean,
ridiculous.
But let's transition to this. The hopes of having Mike Tomlin are dwindling.
they are.
They are now 4-4.
So
They're
he's
not
4-4 with fucking Mason Rudolph as his quarterback.
And that was an improvement over the guy before. Yeah, he was.
Oh, Hodges.
Yeah, I mean,
Buck Hodges
he was
is-
down to his third.
Yeah. So that guy can coach.
He can coach.
So there's no chance he comes to the
Doesn't belong
Redskins.
here.
Yeah. No,
Not to
does
say he
belong.
would even come here anyway,
No.
but they're not going to fire him. So that's one
Yep.
guy off the table.
So going with that division, probably the biggest regular season game to this point in the NFL season was played this past Sunday night in Baltimore. Patriots at Ravens. Man, I was impressed.
Lamar.
Look what
Dude.
happens when New England actually plays a team that has an offense.
Lamar was amazing.
Jerry, you said it weeks ago, and you have
I think
you have,
Holly said it actually, but
you have reiterated the point that Jackson is special when he
he
can
runs.
run. And when he can run, it opens up his ability to move in the pocket and pass. And man, the Ravens really handed it to him. I was very, very impressed by that game.
The best part of it's now Ingram is starting to heat up a little bit, which is going to take some pressure off of Lamar. He really needs to start getting down. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the question in the
yeah.
equation.
Can he keep
you
doing
do
it?
this and stay healthy?
And Marquise Brown's starting to break down a little bit. Health. He did that at Oklahoma too. He's just so small.
Yeah, exactly. He's little.
So
Yeah, he's
he
tiny.
can't take shots, and,
Right.
and his body just breaks down.
Right.
But the Ravens seem to. Hopefully, they can catapult this win into. I mean, you can go one of two ways, right? You can say we've arrived,
Right.
and then now you start losing because you lost your grit, or now I have confidence.
Yep.
Right. And
Right,
now
the other side of it
now
is
now
let's-
this can be special.
Right. Let's
Everything
fucking
slows
go.
down for those guys.
Yep.
So-
Let's go
And
now.
you would think with Harbaugh's track record, even though he's made some bonehead mistakes at the beginning of the year, but you think what he can do is he can manage a team
he can.
and he can keep the train rolling forward.
He manages egos really, really
Yes,
well.
he does.
He keeps the high guys humbled. He gets the most out of like the yeoman like workers,
And he doesn't get bogged down in
Nope.
the day-to-day stuff.
Nope, agreed. I was most impressed with the defensive effort from the Ravens the other night because that has been their downfall this year, right? Been very susceptible in the secondary, and yes, they made the trade, and it definitely improved what they've got back there. But they brought pressure on Brady, and they didn't get
that's-
to him a ton.
Well, that's the point, though. Is Brady's the
Bingo.
more that statue back there, easier to get after that guy than a lot
Correct.
of the guys they usually
Yep.
play.
Don't you love the fucking media that after the game? Now maybe it's because I'm biased towards the Ravens, but after the game they said this is what the Pats needed. Now Belichick can grind it in them, and they're not immortal and they're not invincible. Like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Dude,
Dude,
I 20 on national TV. Yeah, good call.
We'll see what the
Fucking
what the
asshole.
end of the story looks like in February.
Oh, I mean,
Absolutely.
Tom Brady's the greatest of all time, so they're gonna be there. But it's just like when they lose, it's still
a positive.
it's still a positive
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
And now Belichick's got something to work with. and
That's
fucked
great.
up.
By the way, Belichick's press conferences are amongst my favorite. God, he was so great. They're like, what went wrong? He goes, I don't know. We didn't do anything right.
Yeah, but he basically
I mean, he
thinks
just went.
everyone- he thinks-
His deadpanned one-liners are the,
Yeah.
Absolute best.
He's like when you're growing up and your friend's got a dickhead stepfather, and like Jerry,
I'm so hated, man.
all he talks about is Senior Stevenson.
Sometimes it's tough to be on the top. You know, when you're on the top, everyone wants to take you down.
This is
Fuck
Jerry's
you guys.
basement, right?
Oh, it's too
No, but you know, like they're just always dogging. Like nothing's ever good. And yeah, you got that car. That's nice, but that car's a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but if you see Belichick like in the off season, he's a funny motherfucker. Have you ever seen some of the shows he's on where he's just cutting the rug and loose?
He's so dry and
He thinks everybody else is an asshole. You know what? He's right.
yeah. No.
But I think he's unlike Nick Saban, who's always like that at 24/7, just stern, no fun to be around. Belichick can loosen up and actually be kind of fun.
No, I agree with that.
You know,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
agree with
a
that.
lot of during the season, it's a lot of showmanship. It's not his true nature. Where I think Nick Saban is just a totalitarian dictator
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, he comes home and says, "Why are the trash bags on that location?"
Yeah.
yeah, I played for some son of a bitch coaches in the past. I don't know that I'd like to play for Saban. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you,
Well, I have been told
piece of shit.
by someone who was recruited by both of them that when you go to Clemson,
Yep.
it's fun-loving, family atmosphere, and when you go to Alabama, it's
a
like
business.
Russia.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
So
what
when you
you,
go
what
to
you think
Clemson,
will be.
it's like old school, like the program. Like they have the cheerleaders.
Well,
they take
I-
you out on the town.
Well, I think the culture at Clemson is we're a family and we have fun. So there's a lot of laughing. I mean, they get down, obviously. They get down and they do work, but practices are sort of a lot
so
of fun.
I've heard similar stories
Like
where
Dabo tries to make
Well,
it fun. in
Dabo's going to
practice.
pray with you, and Saban's going to throw a trash can at you. You know,
Right.
whatever.
And Alabama is just like, you know, you're working 20 hours a day.
Yep.
And you're not going home for Christmas and you're not going home for the summers. And
exactly.
you're here and
No, I heard a eyewitness account of a recruit who was at both schools. So went to Clemson. Dabo was talking to the parents or whatever. So they finished the recruiting visit, and they're shaking hands. And the dad goes, "We haven't made a decision yet." Dabo goes, "Completely understandable. Take your time." He goes, "If you come here, good luck to you." He goes, "If you go somewhere else, he's going to do just fine. Good luck to you." So they go to Saban. They go to Alabama. So they finish the recruiting visit, and Saban goes, You have 24 hours to sign your letter of intent, or else I'm going down the block because there's another 5-star right over there that's going to take your place." And the parents were like, "Holy shit, are you serious?" And they're like, he's like, "Yeah, dead serious." He's like, "This was my recruiting visit with you. You either come here or I sign somebody else just as good, if not better. What do you want to do?" And they were like, and the kid ended up going to like some third school because he was like, "I don't want any part of this shit,"
Right.
But Saban is definitely like that dictator, type A personality, just in your face the whole time,
You talk about the value of Dabo, though, like that fun, relaxed atmosphere. Look at the Nats. I mean, that's part of the reason
Boom.
they
Right.
did
Good
so
call.
well against Houston.
Good call.
I mean, they looked like they were playing spring training games. I mean, they were
like not a
World
care in the
Series,
world. No
Yep.
pressure.
having to win every game on the road, and they're like, "Yeah, it's cool, man. We're gonna go have beers with the Caps this weekend. It's cool. We'll be fine."
Yeah, it was awesome.
So, Jeremy, I'm going to the Maryland game on Saturday, the basketball game against
Nice.
Rhode Island. Did you watch the first game?
I did not, because I don't have money to pay for BTN Plus. I'm not a baller like that.
What'd
I
you
watched
think?
it.
What'd you think? Can't shoot. Still can't shoot.
So we were absolutely dominant from the first tip on. Through we were definitely throwing duds there in the first part of the first half. So we shot. How many threes did we make?
It
5.
was 5 out of 27.
Yeah,
5 out of 27.
5 for 27 from 3, and we put up 95 points.
Yep.
That encourages me with this team. I think this Terps team is Turgeon's litmus test. This is going to determine whether he can actually coach or not.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
He has had some crazy talented teams, and we've heard they don't listen to me after the after the timeout. They didn't run the play we wanted to run. We had a tough game at Illinois, who won 4 games, and we lost a tough one on the road, and it's the Big Ten. Fuck all that shit. Here it is. You are talented. You are deep. You are athletic.
Their backcourt
Dude.
is amazing. The
It's-
depth they have.
So I don't want to jump the gun.
Cowan, Wiggins.
This team reminds me a lot of the Villanova team from 2 years ago, where they were like, oh, you don't have a true center. You don't have any size. Dude, they rolled through the regular season.
Yeah.
They rolled through the NCAA tournament. And they were like, hey, you know what? We're just going to fuck you up with guard rebounds, with pace, with everything else. And if you can score 90 against us, good on you. But you know what? I don't think you can.
Well, Jalen Smith's a big kid.
He is a big kid. The Mitchell boys are big kids.
Mitchell boys are big kids.
I think that, the guards are what can keep them in games, but if they want to be a potential Final Four team, it's more about the bigs, because with Sticks out there, the Twins, and then, Charles the wild card. And
Who's that?
Martial, or however you say it. The 17 kid. Marial, yeah.
Is he coming back?
They're going to reevaluate him in a couple weeks, and that we don't know.
See, I'm not counting on him.
I'm not counting him at all.
No, I don't think he plays.
With Sticks and the Twins, they're probably got better big men than most of the conference.
So Sticks and the Twins, but you can go
course,
smoke and
Lindgren.
mirrors a little bit with the bigs inside in college basketball.
Oh, you can. No, and that potential is there, but I think
You got to get some rebounding and
to put this
physicality.
team over
right.
the top. To me, it's more about the bigs and how they can produce.
Like I tell Peyton, and like I'm going to tell your daughter,
Yes.
you rebound and you get the ball to people who can dribble. Peyton, you're not a shooter. Stop trying to dribble the ball to the floor and shoot from the outside.
So get the ball and get the rebound and get it to Cowan.
That's exactly what you do, and you play good defense.
Cowan's playing with Peyton. That's a pretty sweet team.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And George.
It's part of a plea deal Jerry worked out. We have
Guys,
one addendum to add to this contract.
He is the best in the business, folks.
As far as he knows.
I think Cowan is, kind of an easy, he's an easy guy to point at, but he is the key to this team.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Point guard play.
Senior point guard.
Correct. Point guard play in
Cleaves.
college basketball is fucking everything. And he's one of the best out there when he's on. I want Turgeon to encourage them to play fast. I want him to encourage them to play fearlessly.
Tempo is going to be the key.
Tempo, play fearless. You know what? If you're in one of those shit games in Wisconsin in January and they've got all those big
shit game.
Correct. And they got all those big guys and their coach is going, this game is in the 50s. This game is in the 50s. If you're Turge, don't fight that battle. Go fuck this shit. This game's in the 80s and they can't score 85 on us.
Yep.
Right.
And let's go.
Side note, is there anybody who wants to see a basketball game in the 50s? Does anybody appreciate that?
Yeah, half the Big Ten. I know.
God, no.
Seriously.
Give me
If
the 1980s NBA.
And Huggins.
140 to 100.
That's right. Huggy Bear
38.
likes to play in the
And
50s.
Huggins they'll be in like the 70s, but then they'll be like stitches and blood all over the place and just 17 missed shots from both.
Ovi's playing?
No, but this Maryland team has me super excited because they are well balanced in terms of size, in terms of they've got the they've got the court leaders. Cowan is a veteran.
It would have been a Final Four team with Bruno.
Oh, I think so too. But I mean, he's getting legit minutes in the NBA. He had to go.
Oh, I don't blame you.
know?
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those what ifs,
Of course, and you're always going to have those. But I mean, Sticks is legit. He's so good. Jalen Smith is just on another level. I think Cowan has that ability to be that point guard that leads this team, and takes them really deep. I mean, I really see this team winning 26, 27, 28 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And if they're in the 21, 22 range and they're an 8 seed, I'm sorry, not good enough, Turge.
Well, I'm going on Saturday. I'll give you guys a breakdown of what I think.
Well, it is November. It is
It's
when
Rhode Island.
I mean, I
They're not
realize
bad.
you can leave your seat, but when you go to the game, you can't just turn it off. You know that, right?
I fucking hate these people.
So are you sitting with Jim? Sitting in Jim's seats?
He gave me all 4 tickets, so
Nice.
I'm going to try to take the
Sweet.
girls.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Perfect.
It's a
That's
9
awesome.
o'clock game.
Yeah.
So, see
No,
if-
late
That's
Saturday
Saturday,
night.
that's
That's going to be awesome,
I
man.
asked Peyton if she wanted to go. She was not too thrilled about it, but Izzy was like, I'll go. I just need a New Maryland shirt. I was like,
Aw.
okay.
That's awesome.
Go to the team store ahead of time. You're good to go,
Ah,
man.
shit, dude. We're going to freaking Modell's. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
fuck you.
I'm
Go
going
to
to
the
the
team
cheap
store,
rip.
you son of a
If
bitch.
they had Maryland shirts at Safeway,
Chinese
that's where I would go.
knockoff. Not gonna be red. It's gonna be like a
That's right.
rusty orange Maryland shirt.
Hey, I didn't know Maryland was sponsored by Reebok. Is that Champion? What
I
the
would
hell
get
is
it.
that?
I would get her a shirt at
Russell
Weiss if they show. If they,
Wheels.
you know how they have those Damascus shirts in there.
Oh, yeah.
and like you could take them and just rip them. Like just
things
pull
are
it down
awesome.
them. Yeah.
Kids live in that shit. No, but seriously, this team has me optimistic because other than Michigan State, I think the Big Ten is wide open. Michigan State's legit. They're good. Granted, they lost last night.
But they were missing their best player, right?
They were. But Izzo, he knows what he's doing. They're going to be awesome. I think Beeline in Michigan is great. They're going to be really solid. I really think Maryland is a top 3 Big Ten team. They should be a top 4 NCAA tournament seed, and they really should cement themselves as a Sweet 16 team come hell or high water. And then at that point,
I
all
agree
bets
with you.
are off.
I agree
know?
with you. They should be a top 4 seed.
No, and I don't like to set my expectations high, but I look at this team and I go, you know what? They've got all the makings of a team that can go really deep in that tournament. You know?
No, absolutely. And this is the 1 year they can do it. I mean, Cowan's gone after the year, Sticks
Yep.
probably 2. And it's they're a top 4 Big Ten, so double bye for that tournament. They're a 4 seed, and they're a Sweet 16 floor. And I don't like setting expectations that high only because you set yourself up for disappointment. But that's what this roster is.
That's
And
what they
it's
are.
Like
Right.
you said, this is Turge's chance to prove. I think that he's a little too folksy for my taste with some of those interview answers after they lose games, but. I think he's also essentially been right in most of those, with most of those answers.
No, I
this
think-
this is
yeah.
his chance, though, to prove that he was and what he can do with a little bit of a different team.
Yep. I'd like to see a little bit of the son of a bitch that Gary had in Turge. Turge is almost too by the book, too nice. We did everything by the book. It just didn't work. And Gary's like, fuck it. Didn't defend, didn't score.
It was like,
back to
you
the drawing
suck,
board.
You suck, but we're going to forget about it and do better next game.
That's right.
How great would a championship run be to just one more nail in the Snyder coffin?
God, would that be great.
Here's Maryland basketball. Like just keep it coming, all of it.
Like if in April
I want
we're just
everything.
Yes,
What's the
fuck
football
yes.
team?
Well, the
Football
Ravens,
team?
the Ravens make the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That would be so
Maryland makes the Final Four.
That'd be my favorite.
Caps once again.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes.
When does the Valor play? Like they're good. I don't even know when their season is.
There's like 8 teams in the
I'm a
league.
fan now.
Maryland beats
4,
Penn
and
State.
Ted owns 2 of them.
Now, so Maryland basketball gives us, optimism for, the local college sports because college football has not been kind to us. And we will, we'll debate that another day as to what, we do there going forward. But no, Maryland basketball. So I'm thinking the floor for them, 25 wins, top 4 seed, Sweet 16. And I know those are lofty expectations, but Jeremy, you said it just now. That's where it has to be when you have a roster with this much clout. Veteran presence, young exuberance from the freshman guys, super talented. You got enough bigs inside. You got enough guards. You got enough shooters. And again, 5 for 27 last night. Early in the season, I'm not going to worry about it. And by the way, in college basketball, teams have shitty shooting nights all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why some of the great teams don't move on in the NCAA tournament. We see it all the time. Duke lives off of shooting 33s and making 13 of them. And when they get into that NCAA tournament game and they make
6, they're done. They go
right,
home.
exactly.
Yep.
When they make 6 out of 28 and they can't grind it out at the end, well, too bad. I don't want Maryland to be that team, but they've got enough shooters. They should be able to put up 85, 90 points if they need to.
Well, that's another reason why they need to push that pace because
Yes.
more possessions, more shots, you can afford to miss more.
Yep. And you know what? And if another team, goes 11 for 20 against you, you should still be able to win that game because you can pound the ball inside, because you can get to the free throw line, because you're just more talented.
100%.
All right.
All right, boys. Let's take a deep breath. Go Caps. Go Terps.
Man.
Davey Martinez, congratulations
Congrats, brother.
on taking my
That's Rizzo, too.
my advice.
How about Rizzo representing another guy representing the sweatshirt?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I know it's tough, if you're a Ravens fan, but Another guy in a sweatshirt winning
Sell,
championship.
hashtag sell the team. That was the best banner down at the parade.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Hashtag sell the team.
So, hey, cheers. Thank you for joining us for another week of Wings, Beers, and Tears. A little championship talk.
Move to London.
A little sobering talk on our one of our football teams and some optimism for our other teams. So keep watching sports. Keep listening to us, and we will point you in the right direction, most likely.
The Florida Panthers must be destroyed.
Jerry is all in on the Caps-Panthers game until it's 2-0 after the first period.
Oh, if it's
Right.
1-0,
and
I'm
then he's raging.
One and done.
He and Major are going to go up and have a temper
Maybe if
tantrum.
we're outshot in the first 5 minutes, like they don't have it. Fuck it.
First shot on goal. He's out. I'm done. Damn it, Holly.
So join us next week for another episode of Wings, Beers, and Tears. Until then, peace, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Later.
Peace out, peeps.
Good night.